Welcome to Agent CSN, the podcast where we bring insurance professionals together to learn, share, and grow. Today, we're going to dive into the unique advantages of our insurance network's in-house MGA known as Access Plus. I'm your host today, Chad, and with me today we have our managing partner, Chris Strelacey.
Howdy, howdy.
Nikki Dawson, who's our director of Access Plus, and one of our Access Plus mentors, Courtney.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome. So, tell you what, since this is, kind of a near and dear topic to my heart, because I think Access Plus is a perfect pathway for our agents to get into new markets. Chris, kind of give us a background on where did it come from, right? Kind of like what was the synthesis that brought Access
How far
Plus
back do you want me to go?
As long as far back as we need to get pertinent without putting people to sleep.
Okay. So I can tell you when I first started with the network, Access Plus was a business. It's honestly a place where business went to die, and that scared me. I remember the people that were there were always fighting over the business and what was there, and I was so worried about taking a prospect and passing it over. And so once we got in, really saw the tools and resources where the drains were, it was like, okay, we need to overhaul this deal. And they were doing 3-day turnaround times on a personal lines quote. And in some cases, it was just they weren't getting responses. And so we said, okay, we need to have our goal was to get to a less than 24-hour turnaround time to help agents place business with our partner carriers that don't otherwise have a relationship. So the main thrust of Access Plus is to mentor, guide agents that don't have that knowledge to get to the right market. So the fast forward to today, you've got growth coaches that are helping externally. You have Access Plus mentors that are helping internally, helping you as an agent get success quicker. So Courtney King is one of those phenomenal Access Plus mentors. So she's constantly working with newer agents, some existing agents that just haven't tried that market in a while. They'll reach out and say, hey, what are you seeing with this carrier? And so since she's quoting, I don't even know how many you do in a given day nowadays.
It varies.
It varies. It's a lot. Since she's seeing a lot of those, she's able to give pertinent information to the agent, say, hey, don't take this class here, take it over here. These carriers are going to be more accepting of that. And then also, even with Nikki Dawson doing that on the same side for the commercial, there's a lot of nuances and pitfalls that agents who aren't very familiar with the product, they're going to step into. She can help alleviate that and get to a yes much quicker.
So really, it's a focus on the plus, right? Because most people think of Access Plus as just that access to a market that they may not have had.
Right.
But our approach is really that plus piece, right? Is the coaching, the mentoring. So Nikki, from a day-to-day perspective, how does that work in, right? Because you get to see both commercial and personal lines. You get to see the broader picture. So how do you kind of weave that plus piece of the access into it?
It's really neat to overwatch the team and see them grow and how they help agents. We are constantly training people. We're constantly teaching them, hey, you asked us for this, but let me tweak you with that. You asked me for this class of business, but let me tell you why you want to go after this class instead. On the personal lines, it may be, hey, you asked me for this carrier, but this customer that you gave us actually is a better fit over here with this carrier. Or I keep seeing quotes come through with this same thing you keep kind of making an error on. Let me teach you how to do this a little bit better so you have a little bit better closing. We've even worked with agents on, hey, we keep noticing that you keep quoting the same thing, you're not closing. Let's model that. Let's pretend like I'm your person. How are you closing this? How are you doing this? So we can help them to better close their business and hopefully move towards a code in the future.
Yeah, because that's the end goal, right?
That's the end goal.
Is get as many of those quality contracts.
Absolutely.
So, Courtney, from your perspective now, so if we have that, what does it actually look like, and like what's a good success story that you could share with us that highlights how you've been able to move an agent from just coming in, dipping their toes, maybe having a few misses, but then translating that to success and ultimately getting that direct code.
I would say, I know Chris and Nikki touched on it a little bit already, but in order for them to be successful, the mentorship piece is definitely going to be key. So it first starts before they can even have that success story that I'm trying to think of as I speak through what we would do. We navigate the different carrier expectations. We help them understand the underwriting guidelines. Like Nikki alluded to already, we make sure they're aware that this carrier is not going to work for what you're wanting, or even if they're not accepting monoline business, then we can help give them a different option, which is what I do all day when I'm looking through all these quotes. Trying to think of a success story.
There's too many.
There's
to
so
pull one off the
many.
top of your head.
Like there is an agency that comes to mind where they had very little carrier access. And this is, of course, when our markets were wide open that I can think of at this time. But they were able to write their clients with Access Plus. And then they were able to build their book of business through Access Plus so that they're meeting those thresholds that our growth coaches help them figure out, right? But and they were able to do that. And then I think within like 18 months, they were able to start getting contracts with those carriers with the preferred markets. They came in with no preferred market options. And that's what Access Plus is all about is here's your standard market, here's your preferred market, here are the carriers you don't have access to. I'm going to help you, mentor you, guide you, help make sure that you know how to get that contract and make sure you're getting that business. And
If I could, she's hitting on a really key aspect. So the Access Plus is not going to be a traditional MGA. Traditional MGA, you go out there, you can place whatever you're hiding underneath. You don't own that business. That MGA owns that business, and so you're able to place everywhere what a Courtney or a Sarah or a Nikki or a Grant or a Tammy even, what they're all doing is saying, hey, you want a direct contract. There is a different avenue to be able to get that. The way you have to do that is by following the guidelines associated with each partner carrier. So Courtney will say, hey, you want Travelers, right? Let's sit down. Says they're going to want this package business. They're going to want this type of setup. And so, no, I'm not going to let you go outside of that because this is your fastest way to get the code. Exceptions you can do in an MGA. You can also do exceptions when you have your direct code. But while you're building towards that direct contract, you don't want to have those exceptions. You want to say, hey, I'm going to be a great client for Travelers. Our customers are going to be a great fit for them. And so we're going to mold you to that. So that way, when you do get your code and you have that success, you know exactly what you need to do to be successful long-term with that partner instead of having to worry about contract terminations, not hitting your production. You wrote too much monoline. Like the big one right now is Travelers. They want, everybody wants really packaged business, right? And they're saying, okay, well, if we got a 3-to-1 home to auto ratio, you know that's not a recipe for success. And so how are we addressing that? How are we working on that? And so the goal, again, with the Courtney and the whole team is to prevent those problems from popping up.
If I was to put on my agency owner hat, that might feel, I'll use a dirty word, restrictive.
Yeah.
Right? But the point behind that is we're doing that to help create that pathway to ownership.
Yeah.
But because ultimately our success is their success.
that's exactly
Well,
what I was thinking. Our success is
Yeah.
their success and vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you get out there and you're just like doing what you're used to doing and you turn around and Travelers cuts your code or Safeco cuts your code or Hartford does, that's going to be much harder for you in your business transition. And then getting that contract back, oh my gosh, it takes 3+ years. And that's if they want to work with you.
Right. And if they do want to work with you, Access Plus is going to be there, though, to help you, get mentor you. That's key, is mentorship.
Yeah, so I actually like to relate Access Plus as more of a sandbox or training environment that says, hey, let's get you to dip your toes here. Let's focus on key carriers that you want or you need that will outfit or add value to your client base. And then let's get that code. Let's move out. And instead of just placing business willy-nilly here and there, hoping that it finds a home.
Absolutely. Shifting gears a little bit, if I'm a new agent owner, say I'm a scratch person, right? I just signed up with SIA. I meet my wonderful team and they start talking about all these things. What are some of those things that maybe I should be asking that I don't know to ask, right? What are some of those maybe lessons from those early agents that would help us from the Access Plus side, help them along their way, help expedite that process for them?
Yeah, like what's the ideal
What
member.
for the commercial side is what do underwriters want from me? So we've kind of got the secret sauce. We know, hey, if you submit this, they're going to laugh at your submission. So let me teach you how to write a clean submission with all the details, ask all the questions, so you can get in and get this written and get out.
Exactly.
What
I
would you
it's
say
the
for
same.
personal?
Yeah, Chris, I would say about the same. What do the underwriters want? What type of business do they want? And our Access Plus new business coverage guidelines aligns with everything. It's really cool because I think we meet with the carriers quarterly, sometimes more. That's why I say I think, but at least quarterly, I should say, to say, hey, this is our guidelines. Are we good with this? Do we need to increase this? And go from there.
And also, how do we educate our customers? How do we handle renewals? What's our renewal process look like? Retention is just as important as writing new business. So helping them understand, hey, new business, great, let's do it. But let's talk about how to retain these people once you get them.
Yeah, and in this challenging market, that's what we've shifted our mentorship approach to is, okay, we can't get new business, maybe because of the rate, maybe because it's just DFW area, closed county. So let's focus on what we can do to make sure they're staying where they're at until next renewal.
I'd also add that it's a safe place to test markets out. If you had, let's say you have a lot of contracts already and you're writing direct and, Kemper, say, comes back and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to take on a carrier appointment right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to place some business. Let me reach out to one of the Access Plus mentors and say, hey, can we run a couple quotes here just to see where it hits? And then if I get a couple wins, I can be like, okay, great. Now I'm going to move on to figuring out, I'm going to open up my book metrics to see about getting the direct contract at that point. There's a lot of ways that existing agents can operate there too. The goal is you have an avenue. You have a team here that will support you and help you, and so they can test that for you.
Oh, and that's actually a completely different way of thinking about Access Plus, right? Is it's that sandbox for the existing agent because most of the time when we're talking about Access Plus, we're thinking of it from a new agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody trying to develop that book.
Well, and even as an existing agent, if I'm sitting around, I get inundated with carriers. I've got 16 different contracts. It's a pain, but you got a whole team here that is dedicated towards serving that and that meets with them, as she said, quarterly. That's a minimum. I mean, sometimes we're meeting weekly in some cases. We're going to have the appetite guides. We're going to have the most recent successes and wins. And even we used to do with the newsletter, which we're going to be revamping, is saying, hey, here's some quick wins. Here's some big accounts that have closed within the last 10 days. With this carrier, here's the premium threshold. Go for it. That way they see, okay, they're writing this. Oh, I want to push business that way.
We still even have not old agents, but older to our network agents that still ping us and go, hey, I'm thinking about going after this risk, or I've got this customer and here's the problem I'm having. How can you help me with that? Or we had an audit. This is what happened. How can I get around that? So we're still an ear, even though they've got their own contracts and with us for years, we're still a place they can come to get help with.
Yeah, and that really speaks to the relationships, and the trusted advisor role that we play as mentors for our agents, right?
It's a huge
I
value
think one
add.
of the with our portal launching and everything being housed there is putting all the appetite guides there. And as soon as we get that update, it's going to be placed there for all members to see it. So that will help with the transparency. But again, we're a phone call away. They can reach out. They can talk to a live person and go, hey, what are you seeing here?
Exactly.
And speaking of the portal, I know we're looking at a January rollout for that. What does that look like, Courtney, from your perspective? What does that look like?
Have you played in it yet?
I have been playing in it.
Okay.
Nikki, I've been obsessing over the videos. I am a trainer at heart, so I want to see what they see. I've got the logins to see what the agent sees and see that view.
Actually,
It's just starting.
before we completely missed this. Do you want to give us a little background? Because I remember you were a trainer, if I'm not mistaken, over at Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that?
I started my insurance career in 2015, and I came to Coverica Land in 2020. So
Yeah.
you guys can do the math.
and to that point, it's kind of a crazy story, and if I can brag on her for a little bit.
Of course.
They had the retail had a restructure okay, which is crazy. A lot of individuals were looking at finding different positions. Courtney's resume came across my desk, and Nikki and I were sitting there talking. I'm like, this is the perfect resume. She was a trainer.
was like,
She
get
worked
her.
with agents. Yeah,
Get her.
actually, yes. Nikki was over there like, you have to take her. And I was like, I know. She's the ideal candidate. And so it was really easy. She gave me a call and she said, hey, I was on, where was I? I was actually,
You were out of town. Were you
I
in
was out of
Florida?
town. Yeah, I was for
Florida, I think.
for Thanksgiving.
I remember it was yesterday.
She called me up and she goes, hey, I didn't know if there's any positions. I immediately called like 3 people, like, we have to grab her. Like, she needs to be with us. And so we were able to
Snag her.
bring her over, and all of her strengths and gifts that she's brought to the table has been really
Amazing.
rewarding.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had to
great.
brag a little bit.
No, it's great because I get to, in the mentorship role that I am, especially on the personal line side, I get to use my background coming from Liberty Land, and I don't know, and you're not limited in Access Plus. My favorite thing is we have options. So this isn't working. Let's focus on what we can do, and then always doing a positive spin on everything for our agents.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And now with the technology laid on top of that,
Yeah.
now it just helps you do that much more efficiently for our members.
Exactly.
Well, we're also, Chad, you've been a big part of this as well, is looking at some of the virtual assistants, mentors, and things of that nature that can step in. We had a situation where we had a member agent that was quoting an irregular amount with very low success rates. And so what we were saying is like, hey, let's partner with you because, we're missing some things, or this type of clientele that we're going after is not having a high bind rate. So how can we partner with you to even address that or kind of help fill in that gap? And so that's some of the things that we're looking at moving into for this next year, is offering the remote assistance to our members.
Which I'm really excited to train them. I work with them now, and they're going to be a value add to our agents. Just have to be open-minded.
Oh, absolutely. And now, how did that kind of come about just to begin with in general, right? Because, I mean, you're a big part of that, Nikki.
So what happened was
What happened?
a major rater that we have, because of the market, they went off of the rater. So that meant that a lot of quotes that were coming through Access Plus were manual quotes. So we want to keep a commitment to our member agents to get those quotes turned around pretty quickly. It was getting really heavy on our team. These guys were working crazy hours. So
Yeah.
we looked for solutions to how can we help enter data and get it turned around quickly. And so we looked
They were
outside.
processing 150 quotes a week.
Yeah.
One person.
150, one person, as high as 180. So it's like, hey, we can't keep at this space. Not to keep them, I value them as a team. So to keep them, we looked for some outside solutions. And so that was a great solution.
It makes our lives easier every day. Sarah and I were just talking about it the other day.
And this is where I'll brag on the team from I'll put on my operations hat here, right? We process, we have one member that does 230 quotes in 60 days. In aggregate across Access Plus for personal lines, we had for 60 days over 750 quotes.
Easily.
And our average quote time is less than 24 hours. for
It's
personal
it's
lines?
probably like 5-6 hours.
Yeah,
sorry.
I shouldn't put that number out there.
there.
We promised 24 hours. It's a pretty quick turnaround.
Now, even with that, it's also, when we get all the information in, because that's one of the key aspects. One of the best ways that a member can partner with the Access Plus team is, hey, when they ask you for this information, the reason they're asking it in the first place is because they know that's how we're going to get it through the carrier. If we don't have it, you cannot get through that carrier block.
Yeah, so it's that open communication between all parties and making sure that we're equally responding back and forth as quick as possible. And you're right, Nikki, I was trying not to oversell you, but our metrics on the last one was just under 6 hours for our average quote turn time. So the team's definitely crushing it.
Just because I know we have prospects, we have clients, we have carriers listening. Commercial, just specific shout out for commercial. How far in advance do you want the information?
60 to 90 days.
60 to 90 days, not the day of.
No.
Those are
Please
different
no.
You're
cases.
shooting yourself in the foot if you do that. You're doing yourself a great disservice. And the people that come to you the day before, you really don't want those people. And that's another thing, too. We teach our agents how to say no because every prospect is not a good prospect.
Wait,
That
wait,
and-
wait, what was that word again?
No.
Oh, okay.
So no in this case means new opportunities.
There
Right,
you go.
right.
But even consulting with your clients, you want to make certain that you maintain that professionalism. And so you're working that relationship with them and say, hey, let me go ahead and start working this out 60 to 90 days in advance. So I'm preventing my competitors from stealing that business, blocking the markets, and I'm able to come in and provide that value add.
Exactly. With that said, I also want to make sure that we're very clear to, especially our prospects out there, it does not take us 60 to 90 days to
No.
quote this because
No.
much
You should
like
see their
our
turnaround time.
personal lines time, our commercial line time, we're under a day
Yeah.
right now for our average, which is just unheard
remarkable. It's
Yes,
remarkable.
remarkable.
Pretty proud of the team. Yeah.
of. And on the commercial side specifically, what is it out there that we should be doing more of? Because that's a huge growth opportunity, not just for the Alliance, but for our member agents, right? Because as the personal market, we all know, has been tough, but that commercial side, there's just huge opportunities, right? So what is it that we should be doing or our member agents should be doing to really capitalize on that opportunity?
They should be asking all of their personal lines clients one simple question: what do you do for a living? And you'll be surprised at how many people are dentists, dog walkers, vets, doctor's office, massage, all kind of things that are easy to write and quick turnarounds. And it gives them an opportunity to multi-line their personal lines so they get a bigger foot in the door for their clients. We all know more policies means bigger retention. So I think a lot of agents, they do themselves a huge disservice by not simply asking the question. You're already talking to them about billing, ID cards, adding children to policies. Just
You
ask
already
the
have to put
question.
their occupation in.
Right. Just ask the question.
Right. That's what I was going to say. We already know what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now the next question. So if we know what they do,
Let me look at your policy.
There you go.
Let me help you. Let me help you do this. And I think a lot of because we have Access Plus too, you don't have to have a direct contract. You can work through our team. So that gives agents an opportunity to put their toe in to commercial lines. We hold their hand while they do it. You know, we're not alone. We'll help you ask the right questions so that they can grow their book of business and really keep some of their personal lines customers because now they've got two policies. Now they've got now their business is involved.
So, I mean, obviously, Nikki, with all of her certifications and everything, which is a mile long, it's not just limited with her. She's got a wealth of resources backing her up. I mean, we've got certified risk managers that will work with her, come beside her. She can pull in. The key is, you start with this team, the Access Plus team. If they don't have the answers, they know the people that do.
Yeah.
And they can reach out, they can pull them in, and they can become that conduit for your success.
That's funny. A lot of agents start their emails or conversations with me. Courtney, I don't think you're the one for this, but I know you know who will. I'm like, yes, I'm your lady.
As a matter of fact.
Right. And what's going to be so cool about that is they do have different ways. Like Chris said, they can pick up the phone and talk to their mentors anytime, commercial lines, personal lines, well, during our business hours, right? But working on that. But they also, the portal, they're going to be able to communicate that way. They're going to be able to navigate and see the policies that need to be touched. And we're going to be able to communicate with them that way. A lot of times we do send out updates about our new business coverage guidelines, and that prompts a call or that prompts confusion. And they're like, wait a minute, does this mean Hartford will accept monoline auto? Yeah, that's what it means. And so they just want that clarification. So even the portal may be able to flash that. Great news, you can now do monoline home. I did not say you can today, but you will be able to, right? And I just think that the portal is going to open up that beautiful line of communication.
Absolutely. And you also touched on something real critical there, the timing. I think one of the things that we've seen over the last 6 months is how fast markets open and then turn back off again.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So what is it that agents should be doing to make sure that they capitalize on those markets when they do open? Are there any best kept secrets that maybe our top performing agents do so they always have something in their hip pocket? I mean, kind of what does that look like? on the personal lines especially?
I'm trying to think.
So
Did you come up?
yeah, I've got a couple. I mean, one of the things that you've got to be careful with emerging markets versus the tried and true, the guys that have been around the block. The emergings guys will come in with a cut rate that they'll burn through the marketplace, and then within a year they're burned out because they didn't. Actually, John Pham, one of our member agents, a lot of the non-standards will come to him first because he is really good at writing this business, and he'll tell them flat out, it's like, you're not priced right. He says, you're going to come into my office, you're going to write up a bunch of business, and then you're going to be terminated within a year because you didn't adequately rate for the terrain that's in here, Dallas, Texas, Houston, or really, Texas is its own animal altogether. And then they don't listen to him. And a year later, they come in and, they're closing up shop. And he goes, I told you. Mm-hmm. And so it's very difficult for that churn and burn because that's essentially what you're putting your clients at risk for. So I would be hesitant to go with anybody less than an A rating, as well as just be cognizant that you're going to need to put a lot more time, energy, and effort on that business. So I have seen some creative models for a burn through the marketplace type carrier where they'll add a agency fee. I'm not the one that's part and parcel to agency fees on personal lines per se, but it is an effective strategy to make certain that you're not getting hosed when you're dealing with that type of business.
Also advising our clients that when you do that, when you partner with those people that come into the market, hey, I'm here with the low price, and you move your book of business to them, you're putting your clients at risk because when they pull out the market, now you've got to replace that business. And now it's very painful for your client to have to move to a regular carrier that's going to be priced significantly more than likely. So those are the kind of things that we as partners help them, hey, before you jump, let me share this with you.
Well, and even the most recent one, State Auto. I mean, we saw a lot of agents place a ton of business. Now that was a bigger name, so it's not that the A-rated carriers are impervious to this. It's just that there's a higher chance if they don't have that type of backing. So State Auto came in, wrote up a bunch of the business for 2 years. Then they got bought out by Safeco, and we're seeing that the rates transition is much higher. And so that creates some pain points, and help navigating that with our clients and customers becomes harder. So it's just like you want to be aware of this. And that's what the growth coaches, the Access Plus mentors, our team is really kind of situated to advise on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're not in it alone. We're here to help.
That's
here to guide
awesome.
you.
And along that lines, right, we're here to help, and kind of keeping with the same theme of something new or advising. What would you advise a potential prospect that's looking at joining the alliance, right? Why us, especially if we're new, right? So if we're a newer, which we're not, by the way, but if we're new to you, what would you be saying to them that would actually make it compelling to actually be a part of the alliance? Because especially I hear from you, Nikki, and you, Courtney, because y'all are both have insurance experience outside the alliance. Right. So you've seen a broader spectrum. So what would you say?
I'd say it's our team. And not just Access Plus, but our whole team.
Yeah.
This whole team of people, and one of the reasons why I wanted to work here when I first interviewed here was because we've had people walk in the room and they feel the energy from our team. Mm-hmm. They feel you guys are here to help me, you guys are here to partner with me, and they really feel like their success is our success. It's an energy. You can feel it.
That's how I felt as soon as I walk in. I'm like, I don't know if it's the beautiful red desk or what, but it's the energy. And you feel like it's a community. It's just it's great.
And I would say that I would echo that community between the people, and I'm hoping maybe through some sort of AI we can get our mascot included into this podcast, because we have a phenomenal
AC
dog, Ace.
Yeah.
That brings that energy just as much as Chris. And that's where, you've done a good job of bragging on everybody on every podcast up to this point. So now we'll get to brag on you a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so uncomfortable.
Enjoy the moment. But that energy, right? That energy, the thought process, the Salesforce portal, utilizing all this technology.
The leadership.
Keeping us really rooted in why we're doing what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. Which is we're here to help our member agents grow, help them achieve their dreams, provide stability, a stable platform
Right.
for long-term success, right? That has to work for everybody. And that's really a testament to you. So thank you very much for that. And that would be my plug for anybody that wanted to join the Alliance.
Yeah, give me a
relative
call.
Love
I'm accessible. I'm available.
24/7.
I
will
know,
what-
not within office hours. You're 24/7.
Oh, gosh. I don't know when's the last time I've not been in a meeting, but
OMG.
I love,
When we make
I'm-
you step away,
Here's what I'll
like, come
say.
with us.
to have a team like this, it makes it all the more easy to delegate, because delegating is not the easiest task. Because if you can do something, do it. But if you can build a team, we often talk, obviously, with you, Chad, and some others, but the success of a leader is how many leaders they've created. And I think that that's the testimony that I want to aspire to do with Nikki, with Courtney, with all the rest of our team members, is help them become greater at what they do. That pours into our member agents as well. So we're interested in growing. Obviously, this new year, 2025, is going to be, I think, a big growth year. We're seeing the market start to open back up. New product launches and existing carriers that are resurging themselves and re-entering into the marketplace, which is nice.
Taking away a little bit of the county restrictions in
Yeah.
the personal lines world.
Still waiting on some legislation to help some of that as well. But yeah, it's going to be a good year.
Well, so unless there's anything else that we haven't touched on,
We do have to, what do we say? It's the books that
Yes, I would say
most
that-
impactful.
that's what I was going to go to next, right? If there wasn't anything Access Plus related.
And I did not prep Courtney or Nikki on this fact.
Oh,
So this will
perfect.
be,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm
this will be
scared.
right off the cuff.
Well, hopefully they've seen the first 3 episodes, so this won't be completely off the cuff. But the way we like to wrap up every episode is, a fun share, right? So what's a book that you've read recently, a podcast that you've listened to,
Something that's
article
been
you've read,
impactful.
something that's been impactful for you that you'd like to share with our audience. So,
And I'll go first if you don't mind, because I don't know if I mentioned this on any of the other podcasts, but I think it's a phenomenal read, and it gives kudos to one of our member agents who get a big head because he's awesome. But his name's James Jenkins. He's got a book called Leaving Captivity. I haven't read a book out there that has really landed well in telling a captive all the pain points that they're going to walk through. And I love the way that, in his book, he spoke about his own failures, successes, and it was a great read. And he's going to pay me a check for saying this. No, really, honestly, it is a phenomenal read. And I think
It
anybody
is.
who's going to contemplate leaving, going independent, obviously come to us, but read that book. It will save you a lot of frustration.
Well, I am a reader. However, I work and then I sleep. So I haven't read anything really good recently, except, and this is a shameless plug, the Bible. That's about it. I go to a group, C12, that Chris sends me to, which is great. It's a leadership group. I love it. And it's pointed out it's reawakened some things some lessons I needed in life. And it reframes some of the things in the Bible. One of the things was about judgment,
Okay.
not judging people.
Yep.
And to me, that means, not judging people, but it also means not assuming someone's motivations behind what they do. That's
Yeah.
been sticking in my mind for a while. Looking at someone and thinking, I know why they're doing that. You really don't. You should ask.
That's awesome. And I will now feel guilty for not having that as my plug. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
I
yeah.
mean,
The ultimate book.
I mean,
It's the best seller ever.
yeah. So on that, Courtney, I'll let you follow that one.
Oh, that's really tough. I have a toddler, and we read everything from The Wheels on the Bus so I'm trying to think. I think The 4 Agreements. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with it, but I think you should peep it out. It's a very easy read. I think Cadence read it to me when she was like 10. So now I think I might pull it back out. We would popcorn. You read a paragraph, I read a paragraph type of thing. And I think it's a great read, and it's good to read with your babies. So
Oh, awesome. And for me, mine was actually Atomic Habits.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a phenomenal book because what it really did for me is it helped me kind of reframe and think about those things that had just become habitual,
my husband's been reading that.
why we do it, But then it's also a very simple way and very practical way to get into easy things that develop good habits, right? And and it does it in a non-judgmental way, which also feels kind of cool, right? Because lots of times it's if you have a bad habit, but it just helps you really think about what it is that you're doing, being intentional about trying to put in place those one or two things that help you building blocks to get into good routines, good habits, those things. So that would be my plug for the day. So, well, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to Agency Ascend. If you're interested in learning more about our network or Access Plus, reach out to Chris, Nikki, Courtney, or myself. And until next time, keep climbing higher.